My skin is black.
What you looking
My
at?
skin is black.
I feel so good to be black right now.
So, welcome to episode 22 of the Black in Fashion podcast. So glad to be on right now. When I tell you, I'm long-winded, I'm tired. I brought that for you, just so you know.
I appreciate it.
for you.
She's such a good host, you guys.
I'm trying. So today my guest is Naomi. She is a social media curator, fashion entrepreneur, and women's empowerment advocate. A first-generation Nigerian American, is the founder and creator of the Street Fashion Week and Street University Project. Street Fashion Week is a biannual production held in accordance with New York and LA's fashion weeks. It's aimed to propel and reinvigorate the conversation on the emerging designers' talent in the field commonly known as urban or street fashion. Street Fashion Week offers a voice to emerging streetwear brands and also connects designers with showrooms. The Street University Project hosts regular master's classes taught by real-life fashion professionals that equips designers with the full support and knowledge of how to run their fashion business. So let's support this young queen as she continues her journey of making Street Fashion Week the ultimate discovery for emerging designer brands. So Naomi, tell me, actually no, we're not gonna jump in. I like to do like my little this or that. Okay. So it's like a little game, and I'm gonna say one thing and you just gotta say which one you prefer, like over the other one, okay?
Okay.
So dusters or blazers?
Oh, wait, what was the first one?
Dusters or blazers?
You know, I don't know what dusters are, and that's sad.
It's like a longer blazer.
Oh.
But like a little bit more lightweight. Like a lot of times they're like chiffons or like silks and stuff like that.
Got you. I would go with blazers.
Blazers, okay.
Yeah,
Shorts
super
or pants?
classic. And pants.
Pants, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Skirts or dresses?
Definitely dresses. I'm like a dress girl.
Oh, for sure. Mules or 6-inch heels? Are you a heel girl or a mule girl?
What is a mule?
You don't know what a mule is?
I don't.
It's like a slingback, like the ones you just like slide your foot right into.
Oh.
Usually open toe or closed toe.
Yeah, no, I would go with like full-on shoes. The higher, the better.
Yeah, mules is like more like a summer trend. Like you like wear them like in the summer and like in the spring and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Eyebrows or lashes? If you had to pick one.
Yeah, I would go with eyebrows.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I have three segments like in between. So the first segment is like, it's called Issa Look Segment. Okay. So I want you to tell me about somebody in the like media or on TV or Instagram, anywhere that you felt like did like an amazing job like with the way they dressed this week, or they had like a really look that like really inspired you and that you liked.
Yeah. This week is kind of tough because there were so many events and the celebrities definitely came out. Mm-hmm. But my best dress would definitely be Blue Ivy.
Okay.
At the Wearable Art Gala, because I think she's so cute. It's so beautiful watching her grow up, and she's like a little queen bee.
A little Blue Ivy.
Yeah, she had on like an African inspired, because the event was to celebrate Lion King, mm-hmm. and it's an annual art event that Beyonce's mom does. So she really killed it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, so I have to go and actually like take a look at it. Do you want some Ciroc?
I should. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like, do you want some Ciroc? We like to make sure we let loose here.
Nice.
Like the way the conversation just flows and we have a really good day. It's Sunday fun day. And I'm off tomorrow, so.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
It's a Jewish holiday, and I work for a Jewish company.
Gotcha.
So I have a day full of stuff that I need to do personally, mm-hmm. but I'm just happy that I don't have to get up like super early and like go to work, so I can have some drinks. So we're gonna jump right in after you pour your Ciroc. So what was the fuel, the series of events and or like inspiration that led you to create the Street Fashion Week and the Street University Project?
Street Fashion Week began as a passion project because I had a background working in production and fashion show production. I worked for a few companies out in LA, and I just felt that although, streetwear was becoming trendy, there wasn't anything that was rendering a voice to streetwear designers. So I created the platform just as a celebratory thing to celebrate the designers that are doing their thing for the year. And then simultaneously, the Street University project came about organically because the more I got to know a lot of designers, the more I realized that there is an education gap. Like, these designers are really amazing and talented, but they're not being given the proper opportunity to benefit from the opportunities that is available to them because they're missing a few basic information. So I collaborated with some of the people in my network, some fashion professionals in my network that are willing to share their knowledge with our audience of emerging streetwear talent. So, yeah.
Nice. Okay. So what would you say is like your biggest struggle, like when you first started out?
When I first started out, I mean, with anything, I would definitely say money, of course, but that's the everlasting struggle with every entrepreneur at every phase of your career. You know, you're always needing to fundraise. Mm-hmm. But the second challenge would be to get people to pay attention, you know, and by that, I mean fashion industry professionals. Like, right away, we almost instantly built a community of people. That's what made me keep going in moments where things get hard. That's what continues to keep me going, is the fact that people are responsive and they see, you know, they appreciate the fact that someone's working to give them a voice. But as far as fashion industry professionals, see, with streetwear designers, a lot of them don't have a lot of funding. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned, there's like an education gap. So a lot of fashion industry professionals didn't really want to touch it. If you don't have the money, they feel like, go find the money and then call me. You know, I was willing to get in the trenches and kind of build something from the ground up. To
really, really help people get to like their dreams and goals, because of course they're not going to have the money like first starting out.
Exactly.
Do you find that it's very difficult for designers to get funding, like if they're like fresh out of college or something they're just doing, like they really don't have like the credit to get like small business loans and business loans? So do you have any suggestions for like getting funding?
I would say, you know, like you mentioned, credit is, you know, in this country is one of the few countries that gives you the opportunity to get funding outside of money that you have or outside of assets. Mm-hmm. So I say build your credit. Your credit is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. And then second of all is to strengthen, my hair, right? Yeah, I was looking at that. There you go. She's fixing my hair, guys. Thank you, girl. Yeah, like the second thing is to strengthen your business model, right? Because money is out there. You know, in the beginning, it is a little bit difficult, but once you get your credit in line, the money's out there. But it's about, what are you going to do with the money once you get it? Do you have a real business plan in place? Do you have a plan for how to sustain cash flow, not just get a bunch of money and spend it on whether you do a pop-up or whether you open a store and then you run out? How are you going to make that money work for you long term, and how long is it going to take you to pay that money back?
Gotcha. Question, can you hear yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I can't hear you.
Really?
No.
Oh, man.
Hold on. No, I think it's something with mine.
Okay.
1 second. Hello? Wait. No, I can't. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Why the heck can't I hear you?
Real clear, too.
Okay. Well, maybe it's just on my end. That's weird. Okay.
Do you want me to split over so you can get in the camera more?
Huh? Oh, no, because I got this angle, too. Okay. So this is good.
Gotcha.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Sorry, guys. Discrepancy.
Technical
shit happens. And I'm just like, I can't hear anything. Okay, so what is it hard? Was it hard to find and retain like dedicated team like that helps hold the same passion? Because I know like it's really hard to get. I ain't gonna say it's hard. It's sometimes difficult to have others that really, really have like the passion to want to help others. Like, cause a lot of times it's like every man for themselves. Like, I had to figure it out on my own, so I'm not really interested in like helping someone else. Like, so do you find that it was easy for you to get like a really nice team, or do you ride solo often?
In the beginning, I definitely rode solo, and I was okay with it. I mean, while I did attract a few people, it's kind of a combination of them not being the most qualified people to take me to where I was trying to go. But it's also, you know, for me to take responsibility, I lacked a lot of management skills, you know, because you can get a good team, but what does it take to keep that team motivated to maintain productivity and to create a company culture where people want to stick with you as a leader. You know, you're a visionary enough where people feel like you can take them to where you're describing yourself to want to be. So on my end, I needed to strengthen my management skills, but also simultaneously learn where to go to find the people that had the skills to help elevate the brand.
Interesting point of view. And that's like, but it's like, right, like being able to keep, I think it's sometimes it's very, very hard to keep people motivated, like within their positions and stuff like that. So, and that is like a representation of like how your management style is, because some people will leave or stay at their job depending upon that, like depending on how people treat them at work and if they're motivated. And it is your job as like the manager and like the spearhead of the entire vision to make sure that you're constantly like amping up your team and stuff like that, which I feel like is very lost it sometimes in like a lot of different companies for sure. That's what's up. Would you say what would you say is the hardest part about breaking into the fashion industry? Well, for black, well, I would say, I guess for black designers. Well, for urban designers, just I guess overall, what do you feel like is the hardest part about like really getting in there?
I would say, of course, like more opportunities. I feel like more mentorship style programs. While there are internship and some incubators, I just feel like there aren't enough that's specifically targeting black and black professionals in fashion. And that would be the main thing. I would say more mentorship, more incubators that specifically target that want to see us win and then want to see us represent our point of view.
Gotcha. Do you really feel that like being accepted is like necessary, or do you think it's like okay just to like have like basically like community validation? Like, do you feel like we need to I'm saying we because I'm a black designer. So do you feel like black designers need to integrate the fashion industry, or should they just like create their own opportunities, create like a black fashion industry, which I feel like is kind of like not said, but there definitely is one for sure. But do you feel like that they just need to accept us, or we just need to accept the fact that it's been so many years and we just gonna do this shit on our own?
I mean, you already know what I'm gonna say. Like, I feel it's twofold again for me. I'm very like, there's a political side of me that feels like, no, enough is enough, because we are a culture at the end of the day. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like everything, unless it's somehow validated by us, although we don't realize the power that we have, we drive what's cool, what's trendy.
Absolutely.
So if we can start to own that power. But the other end is like, you can't change the game if you're not playing the game. And right now the game, with regard to the funding, the money, the production houses, are controlled by people that are not black. So we have to kind of go into that realm and at least learn their systems in order to be able to create our own in an empowering way. But I think that one, we need to continue to understand our power, continue to, where possible, empower our counterparts, but also, observe what is working and then do it better.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm one of those, like, let's just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really need, like, validation from the fashion industry. Like, long as we have like the people that are supporting us and the people that are buying from us, like, and I feel like it's like a constant thing. It's like the fashion industry is not accepting black people. The fashion industry still has like 0 and 2 sides for the models and stuff, and it's just like, well, we can create our own fashion industry. But
it's an endless like mental slavery type thing. Not to go deep, but
no, girl, you can go deep.
Yeah, like it's an endless mental slavery where we want to be accepted. We want to be on every. You can apply that idea to everything, but we want to be accepted. But especially with the internet, they used to call the gun the great equalizer. I don't even understand how that came about, but to me, I feel like the internet is the great equalizer, because it creates opportunities where it wasn't before. It connects you to real people. People complain that they got 10 likes or whatever, but those are 10 human beings. Those are real people, so if we can start to really appreciate that power that gives us. And I don't know how long it's going to be like this. So for as long as the internet is free, available, like, try to leverage it to get what you want.
Gotcha. And you're like a social media curator, so like how to like create content and stuff like that. Is that offered in like one of the courses that
yes.
you have? Okay. That's dope.
So yeah, guys, visit streetuniversityproject.com.
Exactly.
My girl right here is going to be one of our instructors. As I mentioned, we're collaborating with real fashion industry professionals. You know, there's no one else that can help you launch your brand from idea to complete, you know, full collection.
Right.
So, you know.
That's what I try to do. So I have a second segment. It's called like success or disaster. Have you ever had any like a really great success story like that you don't mind sharing? And like maybe something you learned for it, or you could share like a disaster story, but also help you either become a better business owner or like work with different people. That was like a lesson learned.
Yeah. I should pick one, or should I do?
We can do both.
Both? Okay, so I can start with a disaster story. God. I mean, working in fashion, there's been a bunch, but I'm going to take it back to myself because I'm constantly trying to improve. But as I mentioned with Street Fashion Week, right away we attracted a large audience. And when I first moved to New York, I was in New York only a handful of months when I first started doing the events, and I didn't have connections like that. So I got a venue. I paid a guy for the venue. Mm-hmm. He said he had the connection in Soho and everything, and I went to call him maybe 48 hours before the show. Mm-hmm. It ended up being that it wasn't the case. He didn't book the venue. He took my money and disappeared. And I ended up having to come up with another location. And the location, we maybe had, let's call it maybe 1,000 people that RSVP'd. And the location I ended up getting could hold maybe 400.
Wow.
Maybe 5. Yeah. Okay. I mean, in my mind, I just kind of was like, okay, people are not all going to come at the same time. Mm-hmm. And they all did. At the same time. They all did. So that was a terrible, terrible time. I mean, it was so tough for me. And I'm a Cancer, so emotionally, it was so hard. Right. But again.
You never found that guy?
Huh?
Never found that guy?
Never found him. I paid him through PayPal, so I tried to go through that situation, but it didn't work out. Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Well, karma's a bitch. You know,
I believe it.
And everything that's done in the dark always comes to light. But like, you don't do people like that. That's crazy. Okay.
And then as far as a positive, I would say just every day is a positive. I feel like every time because we all know when you have a goal. For example, for me, coming to New York, my first goal was do a successful event. And then it was like, okay, get some press partners. We want to get, you know, the point of the show is we want to get our designers as much press support and,
absolutely,
you know, to get them the opportunity to be featured in stores too. So every time I get a new press clipping, one in particular, I got a publicist reach out to me, and she's like extremely credible in the industry, and she was able to get me on the news. She was able to get us on this company called Arise TV. Mm-hmm. And yeah, those are wins for me.
Okay. Dope. All right. So how does a designer join Street Fashion Week or like the Street Universe? Well, let's break it up because they're two different entities. Mm-hmm. So for Street Fashion Week, are there like requirements? Like how does a designer become a part of like that production?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, we kind of just will look at your collection if we feel like it is a full collection and we feel like you are the type of designer that could benefit, because I could just take everybody, you know, I could just be like, yes, but if I genuinely feel like you're not going to benefit and you need to develop your business a little bit more, then I won't accept you. But now we raise the standards a little bit more because we have Street University. As I mentioned, we had to turn down a lot of people whose businesses weren't ready. So now you are required to take at least 2 courses on the Street University platform, unless your business is earning a specific amount a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really nice, because then it pushes people to not just want to pop out there just for show, but to really, really learn like the back end of the business and really like know what you're doing and how it's going to be beneficial to you, and learning your craft in all honesty and like every aspect. Oh, I like that. So
yeah, because a lot of designers, they do the shows for their ego, and it's fun, you know, to feel like you're doing something. But we want people who genuinely, because our long-term goal, I mean, one of it, we have a few, but our long-term goal is to get a streetwear designer that came from the Street Fashion Week community, that is able to build a sustainable business. Because although streetwear is popular, you don't hear of a streetwear brand that can stand beside Ralph Lauren.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? They're kind of trendy. The businesses come and go, and we want to start
Keep them going, right?
Exactly.
Like, and be in business for 20, 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Like, pass it down to your family and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So, is there like an application process, or like, is like when it comes out, you guys promote it, and then people just start reaching out?
Yeah, you can go to our Instagram, and in our Instagram is Street Fashion Week with an underscore. There's a Street Fashion Week, but you need to go to the one Street Fashion Week with an underscore. It has a blue logo.
I'll make sure I put that in the show notes.
Okay. And in the bio of our Instagram, you can fill out a form. That form helps us get to know you as a brand. It'll ask you things like, what's your website? What are some of your short-term goals, long-term goals? You know, things like that. And yeah, we'll be in touch.
Do they have to pay for the production?
Of course. Yeah.
And is it like a payment arrangement that's like set up so that they can get to, because I'm pretty sure it's expensive, because I get like those emails from like different
we're
vendors and
actually
stuff.
the most affordable show in the city.
Okay.
Because again, you know, I'm trying to build this long term with the community, but it does cost money.
Right.
So we basically figure out the production cost for the season and then split it by the amount of designers that we plan to have.
Okay.
The range is from like 1,000 all the way. If you need PR services done, we outsource that, so that money doesn't even go to us. It goes to a publicist, but it goes up to 25.
25,000.
Yeah, 2,500.
Oh, I was like, you can go from 1,000 to 25.
No, 2,500, 1,000 to
Oh, I was like,
2,500.
PR is expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Publicists, they don't play about their money, and you know, so yeah. And to answer your question about the payment arrangement, we do accept payment arrangements because, again, I've been there. Like we're human here. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you need to pay it in increments, but again, we just want people that are credible and serious and are not gonna string us along and in a week before the show be like, oh, I don't got the money. Because I've had to, on show day, walk up to designers like, you didn't finish paying, like, you're not gonna be able to do it, like, you know.
Like,
so,
and that's an uncomfortable conversation for you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know.
So now, did you make it so like payments is due like that day?
It's supposed to be due 2 weeks before, but you know, we're dealing with people.
Right. You're like,
they're gonna push it. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But that also is like your business when people do things like that, and then put things on hold for you as well. Like, oh, we can't even get this paid for because we're still waiting on payments from this person and that person.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's like, I don't even mind putting it up, you know, but my main thing, the reason why I want to make sure they pay me is because to make sure that they're not one of those designers that I'm going to spend money on buying an extra service for you and then you don't show up, or you know.
Absolutely.
So just to show that commitment is why I demand you, because people spend $1,000 on popping bottles at the club one weekend.
Facts.
Like, we're offering you real credible, like, as professional shows, professional models, like,
this is a real investment in you and in your business.
Exactly.
But I don't think a lot of people always see it like that. Like they will go and do things that don't. Because I had to check myself on that. Like as far as like the money I spend on certain things, even when it comes down to like even getting my nails done.
Yeah.
Like you really want to be able to do certain things. Like you definitely got to make sacrifices, especially as a designer. And when I had Shaya on here, we were talking about that, like about having like that passion and being hungry and willing to like not do certain things in order to pay for the things that are actually going to be very, very beneficial for us, like in the end. So I get that, but you gotta check yourself first.
Yeah, priorities and sacrifice.
And then like for the Street University project, that's like, is it like year round? Like people can just log on anytime and take a course, or does it have to meet like a certain, like the course is available this day and this on day?
No, it's year round. Monthly, or once we launch, we are going to be doing monthly workshops.
Okay.
So that'll be once a month where you get to actually meet the instructors, ask questions, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you'll be doing both of these in New York and in LA.
Yeah.
Dope. Okay, so how does like Street Fashion Week differ from like New York and like LA like Fashion Week?
The way it differs is simply, basically what it sounds like. We cater specifically to streetwear designers and emerging talent within that realm. Mm-hmm. But we do the events in alignment with those global calendars. So during New York Fashion Week is when Street Fashion Week takes place, and vice versa for LA Fashion Week as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, so that way they're always at the same time. So,
yeah.
I don't know why I thought that they may have been like at different times of the year that you just like deemed like, okay, this is going to be Street Fashion Week. So
as we grow, it might change. And people tell me to do it because it's like we're competing against all the events that are taking place. But the way I look at it is like people come from all over the world for New York Fashion Week, and we want to be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah. And there are people, I mean, a lot of the events in New York Fashion Week are invite only, whereas like someone could probably fly here from a different city who didn't have an invite to like a big show and just be able to like attend one of your shows
can come
for
to
sure.
Us. Yeah, we're direct to consumer because we're trying to increase as many eyes as possible for our designers.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's talk about like what the people can like expect to learn and like gain from like joining like the Street University. So what are some of the courses that you guys kind of have like on the I guess what was they called in school? The syllabus? Yeah, what are like some of the course selections like as of right now?
As of right now, we have, I have my friend Edwina Gallego. She works for Project Trade Show, and she's an expert at international business. She knows everything about the trade show world. So she's teaching a course on how to build a relationship with buyers.
Nice.
Because for a designer, you get to the point where you have all your samples, you have all your product. And while the internet, as I mentioned, gives you an opportunity to do the direct-to-consumer thing, if you can get your products in the hands of buyers, that's where your money is. That's where you can change your life. So we have that. We have me. I'm teaching a course on how to prepare for a fashion show because as I mentioned before, I know a lot of designers that they go through the process, but they don't really position themselves to best benefit from the situation. And then I know some of the designers that came at us correct, and at the wrap of the show, they've gone to another level. I want you to be able to absolutely benefit and take your business higher after being with us. And then we have you, of course, teaching how to, are you going to focus on fabric sourcing or?
It's going to be production management.
Management.
Within that production management field, you will get a lot of, it'll start with fabric it'll start with development.
Okay.
Like when you do your sample development, like how to do like a line edit, then move into the pattern making stage, then move into the grading stage, and how to take those numbers from grading and translate that into bulk fabric, so you know exactly how much fabric to buy, opposed to like buying fabric and then you don't end up using it and stuff. And
Gotcha.
then it will lead into like how to pick how many units and stuff like that you should produce of each piece, and how to negotiate costing for all of those different pieces. And then at the end it'll be like a little wham on like quality control and insurance, and then packaging and tagging, and making sure you meet all the compliance when it comes to shipping to stores. Every retailer has a compliance manual, and just like a prime example, like Saks. Let's say you did, because Saks does do smaller designers here and there. Like you just got to get it into the right hands. They will not take your stuff if it's not on a black matte hanger. You can't send your stuff to them folded up in a poly bag or in a plastic bag. So it's stuff like that and you'll get charged back and you won't get paid. So I just want to teach the entire like start to finish. Like when you develop it until it gets to the actual retailer's hands, just make sure that the entire process of that supply chain is completely in line.
Yeah. And then I have, and you see, like all the information that you are saying, a lot of these people that claim they're running businesses, they don't know this. And you're basically setting yourself up to fail if you don't take the time out to learn, you know? And time will teach you, don't get me wrong. Over time, as you make mistakes, you learn, you get your head, you get your butt whooped, and then you have to come back. But save yourself time, learn first, and then go in. I have a couple other people, but we're starting off with 12 instructors. And then as we go, we're going to continue to add courses, but we are starting off with 12. I have a magazine owner teaching how to interact with press, how to get press for your clothing line. I have a designer teaching how to put together a full collection. Mickey Boom from Free Men by Mickey.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's teaching how to put together a collection, like what's
Dope.
considered a collection, not a bunch of random pieces. So
Make it very cohesive. Make sure it actually tells like a story.
a story. Yeah, exactly. So
Okay. So why do you feel like it's important to inspire and mentor Black designers, and what's the biggest piece of advice that you can give?
Why do I feel like it's important to educate and inspire and mentor? I feel like it's the answer to a lot of our problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I can speak for myself firsthand. You can be as ambitious as you want to be in the world, but if you don't know, you don't know.
True.
You know, like we are social creatures. Again, if you don't know, you don't know. So I just think there's so much work that's needed to do in this world. And the people that the kids that are coming up after us, they have the ability to solve all those problems. But if we don't equip them with the tools that we have, with the lessons that we've learned, then they're never going to make the changes that's possible for them. You know, they're growing up in a world that's way more competitive than one that we came up in. I'm speaking like an old head. I be talking,
No, you have to.
like I'm old.
No.
But,
You have to give as much information as possible.
I feel like these kids are so smart. But again, I didn't know. Growing up, I was passionate about fashion, but I didn't know what careers were possible for me until I got to know.
Right.
You know, so I just think we put out as much information as possible. Even if you think it's irrelevant, you'll be surprised whose life you're impacting.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Overshare. I'm one of those.
Yeah, like we're all gonna die. Like we're not taking this information with us. So
Right.
empower the next generation with it.
Gotcha. So I wanted to ask you about when designers are approached like from colleges or like organizations that are asking them to be a part of a fashion show. Do you feel that that's something that they should charge? Like if it's, because I know a lot of, back for me when I first got here, I got reached out to by a lot of different colleges, and it was like women's organizations or like they were doing something for charity and stuff like that. So like I would do these shows, and I call myself at that time like, oh, I'm gonna do it for the picture qualities, the pictures, or I guess I get my name out there. Like I think that's why I did it. But like now when I look back on it and I analyze it, I was just like, well, these were students putting on these shows.
Yeah.
So it's not like they and student photographers, so it's not like I probably would have got like really good images, and for most of them I didn't get images at all.
Wow.
And then of course I wasn't getting paid to do these things as well. How would you, I guess, like advise a designer when it comes to people reaching out to them about doing shows, like what questions to ask, or what if they should be charging, what should they be charging, or what should they be getting out the deal, so they're not like, I guess, like wasting their time?
Yeah. I mean, I get what you mean. Like, I definitely understand the logic that eyes is eyes. I want to get my product out there. But every time you do a collection, even if it's free, every time you do a show, it's still costing you money, because that's your garments that's getting dirty. It might get ruined in the process. So depending on the organization, I would do my own homework on what they've done in the past. You know, maybe if you find someone that's been in their show, send them a DM and say, hey, how was your experience, to gauge whether or not it'll be worth it for you. And I say, ask them straight up, like, what's your budget? If you feel like it's or let's say it's a sister society or something where none of them work in fashion, then, and you feel like you still want to do it for the, you know, for the eyes, ask them, do you have a budget? What's your budget? And if, you know, hopefully you'll be surprised the numbers they throw out. But if they say they don't, then you come up with a number that is, at least it's going to cover your dry cleaning fees or something. You know what I'm saying? Your dry cleaning fees, your travel, depending on the location. Those are things to consider. But I would minimize the amount of shows I'm doing, you know, because you can get jaded after a while for doing a bunch of shows that are not resulting in positive impact on your business.
How many would you suggest that a designer does in like a year's time?
In a year, I don't think there's a need to do more than 3.
Okay.
Yeah. If you pick the right ones, you shouldn't need to do more than 3. Yeah.
Okay. Now, another question. So I have to pick your brain. So I'm putting this out there because I know a lot of people who have dealt with like different things like this and different conversations I've had with different designers. I did a fashion show. Have you ever heard of Fashion Sizzle? NY?
No.
Okay, so there's a organization that puts on fashion shows. They do it every spring and every fall. It's called Fashion Sizzle New York. And I did this show, and it's actually the last collection I did, which was in the fall of 2016. I was one of the last, and this is a big production. They have professional models, all hired models, really nice space down on the, I think it was in Chelsea.
Okay.
It's really nice space.
Nice.
Now, my issue with this show was that my clothing was my brand was like number 16 or 17. And at the time, first of all, I never knew that it was so many designers in one show.
That's a lot.
So by the time my stuff went down the runway, first of all, I had been there all day because they required us to be here at a certain time. And I really didn't need to be there all that time because, I mean, my stuff was ready and I didn't go to 16, then they had like intermission. So by the time my stuff actually went out on the runway, like the entire front row they were like gone. Like people were tired. Like show was like what, 2.5, almost 3 hours long. So what would you like recommend? Like what is not even recommend, what is a normal amount of designers like for a show that way like the crowd doesn't get tired or doesn't get tired? I feel like that's a good question to ask when doing a production too. Like, well, how many designers are going to be in this show?
I think you definitely got to ask them for a schedule ahead of time, and if you feel like the time that they're asking you to be there is too, unless you guys didn't do a fitting before. If you guys didn't do a fitting, you did a fitting already, then there's absolutely no need for you to be there on an unnecessary amount of time. I would ask them for a schedule. I think because we do multiple designers, but what we do, we break the shows. Like we have a morning show and we have a night show. And we do like 4. We did 4 during the day and another 6. And then if we need to do more, we'll do another day. Because especially my fashion industry professionals that come out, like they're on the clock when they come see your collection. They need to get back to work, so you can't just have them there all day. At that point, it's just people's mamas and cousins and you know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely.
Even designers, and this is another word to designers that be like, my mom, I respect your mom, I understand, but you could have a fashion show for your mom in her living room. Like we want to get you eyes of people that work in fashion in hopes that they're going to, be inspired by your work and want to collaborate with you. So yeah, that's the thing. I would ask them how many is going. Try to push yourself forward if you have no control about the amount of people, and ask them for a schedule ahead of time.
I never knew that coming through the door. I was like, I never thought to ask like, well, how many other designers? And then I want to say it may have happened to me like 4 times. It happened to me like 4 times where I just end up being last. It's like, oh, we want to say, they always hit me with that, like, oh, I want to say the best for last, and you're so nice, we put you at the end, and then every time I get to the end, either the venue is like, your time is running up, like, that your period is over, and then like my girls gotta walk super duper fast, or or the crowd is tired and they don't even them anymore.
I mean, typically, like traditionally, it is a big deal to be the opening designer or the closing designer, but the problem, like you mentioned, is if it's too many designers, there's nobody there to see your stuff, so it doesn't matter that you were the most powerful designer who got to close the show. So I would just be adamant and be like, yo, well, let me open it. If you believe that much, let me open the show.
After that I did, but I wasn't doing any shows after that. After that I'm like, anytime I do a fashion show, I want to be the opening designer. But it's like, it almost like, not even almost, it turned me off when it came to shows, and I was like, next time I do a fashion show, it's just gonna be my show, my clothes. It may be 5 to 10 minutes to have all those models walk out, and I'll just end up figuring out the cost and stuff like that by myself, because I just was so, I guess, irritated and upset with, like, I'm like, every fashion show I've done, like, I didn't get great pictures, and the photographers that are, the pictures they promise you, the photographers at the end of the runway, are not really capturing the garments. They're capturing them when they're walking and not catching them, like, right when they're at the end and they're actually posing. And I was just like, I'm done with this shit. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
No, it's unfair to you and the models, too, because they can't use those pictures, and a lot of times that's why they're doing it.
Because, and I feel like when you're emerging and you're really trying, everything is like TFP, everything's like trade for print, so you're doing all this stuff, but it's still like a lot of your time, and takes your time away from other things. I know I had called off work to finish all these pieces because I wasn't done yet, so it's just for this show that I wasn't getting paid for. I didn't pay them for it either. I really was just like a TFP kind of thing. For sure, but it's still your time, like, you know what I'm saying. To me, time is money. Sometimes, like, I'd rather
pay people than to give them my time, because time you can't get back.
Exactly. I just started having to charge for my time.
100%.
I wasn't doing it before, but now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to start charging, because it's like it's of the essence, and I have such a busy schedule now that it's like I have to charge like when I do like consultations and stuff. So what are like your long-term goals, and like where do you see the Street Fashion Week like in the next 10 years?
Whew, 10 years.
Yeah.
I would say, my long-term goal is just to continue to strengthen what we have now, to just grow it bigger. I would love to do a show at like the Javits Center or one of these huge platforms, and to continue to be like that authority when it comes to streetwear designers, because even up until today, like there are blogs, there's Hype Beats, there's some blogs that's cool, but there's no there's no platform that genuinely wants to see these designers win. So I would love to start to align myself with other organizations whose mission is similar to ours, get some sponsors. It doesn't make sense that we don't have like Sprite, Adidas, one of these brands that feed off of the culture, but then like support us. Like we're trying to give these designers at their early phase a voice, so help us out. But continue to grow it. We would love to probably do some retail stuff. We're building our retail platform right now to try to give the designers more opportunities to sell their products.
So they can shop online, like on the website.
Shop online, but also an in-person thing where the concept is like a buy, sell. What, buy, borrow? Yeah, buy, borrow, sell.
Buy, borrow, sell.
Yeah, so you can,
okay. You buy stuff, then you can borrow. Oh, nice, and swap stuff out.
Have a rental.
I think a lot of me and a couple other designers, like we should do a collaborative shoot where it's like all these black designers and all of our looks are just styled like differently, but it's so hard to get everyone together and on the same page. And I mean, we would have to sit down multiple times to make sure like everything aligns, like that there's not just like a whole bunch of clothes in the shoot, but that we're all black designers, but this is our message, but we're telling the same story within the message. So tried to plan it. It's just it's been very difficult.
I'll be more than happy to help with that.
Yeah, because we wanted to. We tried to do it for Black Fashion Month, like when you guys were doing the Fashion 500. Me and 12 other designers, we were trying to like figure it out, but we also was just trying to get it done by the end of April, since April was Black Fashion Month. Like, we wanted to do this big photo shoot campaign. So I mean, of course, we missed it just because everything was just like, oh, I'm not available this day, and I can't do this, I can't do that. But it would be something I want to like plan now and try for next year, and then you just like start getting like all these different images of like this dope concept of all these black designers like telling the same story, but is there a message, So
I think it's a dope concept, and don't limit yourself to Black Fashion Month. If you need to do it outside of that, there's always a story to be told.
True.
And once you get a successful one now, then maybe you can plan another one to be released in April, but I would do it in like March.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get on that, and I'm definitely gonna reach out to you to help me with that. So last segment before we close out is Fashion Inspo segment. So if there's any events that's coming up that you feel like people should attend, or maybe an exhibition to see, or something you're reading that you think is amazing that you could recommend.
Yes. So as far as events, I'm having an event on my birthday.
Okay.
Come turn up with. No, I'm just kidding. It's a
we can turn up.
Right. It's a master class on June 27th. The link is actually, if you can, please follow me on Instagram, and it's in my bio.
I'll put the link in the show notes.
In the show, okay. So I'll send you.
I'll put all your Instagram handles, the links, and all that stuff.
But my friend Kiara Renee, she's really big journalist in LA. She's coming out here to put together the master class. And then King Ashley Ann, I don't know if you know her, but she's an amazing socialite, like social media expert, and she's specifically helps businesses learn how to monetize social media. Nice. So even if you have 2,000 followers, she'll create a real plan for how you can turn that into money.
Okay.
3 of us are collaborating to put together this master class.
I have 3,000, so I need to figure that out.
There you go.
Turn that into some money.
And she can definitely help you.
Okay.
And so that's on June 27th. Please come through. Next month, we haven't released the month yet, but we're doing a masterclass for Street University project. So I'll send you the link to that, the registration link.
Okay.
And then we're just preparing for September. We're looking for sponsors as well as accepting designer submissions right now.
Okay.
For September.
Cool.
So.
There is a black own Black Spirit Wine Festival.
Oh,
it's
yes.
in DC. I went like 2 years ago, and it's nothing but like black. It's a black owned vodka. It's a black owned whiskey.
Word.
It's a wine. It's like it's a room full of black.
When is that?
That's last weekend in September in DC.
Okay.
And but all of their Instagram handles and their information is
on the page?
on their page.
Cool.
So that could be someone like that you reach out to.
Thank
like
you.
we got all these black liquor brands. Like it would be dope to have these brands sponsor.
That'd be awesome.
And there's so many different ones, and a lot of them don't have any visibility in New York. Because when I was asking, I'm like, where can I get this from when I'm not in DC? And they was like, oh, you got to get it online, or we sell in Virginia. A lot of them were like a little bit lower than us. A lot of them sold in like Maryland, Virginia, Delaware. So it's like they're not that far. These brands are manufacturing and doing this stuff like right below us, but like they have no visibility in like New York and New Jersey. You know, it's just like there's opportunity there.
Yeah,
like, let's figure that out.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, that's all for today, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Black and Fashion Podcast. Make sure you actually follow our YouTube series now that I'm trying. If I'm messing up on there, just write it in the comments. I'm like, write it in the comments because I'm not used to being in front of the camera, so this shit is new to me. So I'm trying, I'm trying my best with the YouTube thing, but I'm not great at it. And make sure you guys send questions, anything you want to find out or you want to know, and we can definitely discuss it on the podcast without doubt. So, but in the meantime, stay black. Peace out.